In this video, I'm going to share 3 ways that email marketing has changed, because I've noticed that for all of the businesses that are actually doing email marketing and they aren't getting great results, a lot of the times, if not most of the time, they're still doing email marketing in a way that we were doing it 10 years ago, and they don't seem to realize how much things have changed and how much better email marketing can be today, and they haven't adapted, and they're just not getting to get the results and get all of the benefits of where the technology is today, and not only that, just where the strategies are today as well. So I want to cover 3 of the biggest changes that I've noticed in the last 10 years with email marketing. So the first one is just with the technology itself. The level of personalization that you can do with your emails is completely different than it was in the past. So in the past, people thought you were personalizing an email if you just, put someone's name, if you, greeted them with their name or included their company name or their position. Maybe you pull some data from LinkedIn and you're doing, B2B email marketing or whatever. People thought that that was personalization, right? And at this point, everyone who gets an email and it has their name in it or has some information about them filled in, we know that it was just software that did that. We don't actually think that someone actually took the time to write out that email for every single person on this list. But that's not really personalization to the level that we can have now. So, and this is especially useful for e-commerce businesses or businesses that sell multiple offers if you have several different products to choose from, because you can send them information and you can have certain areas of your email automatically populate showing products that people are already interested in based on their search history, based on their behavior on your website, their past purchase history, all of that. So that way you're being way more efficient. So you can have a marketing message that maybe, and this also applies to segmentation and everything, but you can have a marketing message that would be able to, let's just say it could apply to multiple products, and then you can fill in the product with something that recipient is already interested in. So now for the little bit of effort that you put into creating that one email, you're getting the effectiveness of having that email be totally customized to, let's just say, several different products for the people who are receiving that email, which makes it way easier to sell those products, because you're only, for as far as they know, you're only talking about and showing them things that they're already interested in. So, and this applies at all levels. So you can do this with your segmentation. You can just the level of personalization by creating segments based around different rules, whether it's, again, product interest, it could be based around different demographics, their location, the gender, age, all different kinds of things that you can group people into different segments based around certain rules you define, and then you set it up to where the content in the email is customized to that segment. Now that's a really just fundamental part of email marketing today, something I talk about in almost every single video. So if you've watched my channel, you're familiar with that. If you haven't, then go check out the resources I have about that. You can learn more about how to do segmentation and how to plan content for segments. But just that alone, so again, a lot of businesses are still just, they send every email to everyone on their list, and there's no personalization at all, and they're missing out. They don't realize why. They're still getting these abysmal engagement rates, and they're not really driving very many sales, and that's because people are having a terrible experience with you versus the other lists that they're on. If you're on, because all of us are on the email lists of a bunch of different companies, and the companies that are constantly sending us content that we're actually interested in, and they're talking about and they're promoting products that we're already interested in, of course we're going to buy more from them, and we're more likely to continue to open their emails versus the company that just sends the bland same old email that's trying to appeal to everyone on their list, and there's no personalization. Of course, again, we're going to continue to ignore those emails and often unsubscribe. So, and this is something where it's just the software. It comes with the software. This level, what I'm talking about here, this is not complicated stuff. This is just, really just using some of the basic features of the modern email service providers. Now, granted, not all of them have all of these features available. So if you're using, the MailChimps and Awebbers and things like that of the past, then that's another issue, is you might be time to look at one of the better solutions that are out there. Another area is around automation. So a lot of businesses don't realize how much of the follow-up in their sales process can be automated. So I think the typical automations that people have is just someone will opt in for something and then they'll be put into some sort of follow-up sequence. Like maybe it's just 10 emails or whatever it is that sends them a weekly email or an email every few days or whatever after they've opted in, and they think that's enough. Or if you're an e-commerce business, I think most businesses at least have some sort of welcome series, kind of like I mentioned there, and then maybe an abandoned cart or abandoned checkout flow that's tied to whenever someone adds something to cart and starts the checkout, but they don't actually complete their purchase. But again, every other step of the sales process, they don't have any kind of automated follow-up, which just means that, if there's a certain percentage of people you're going to be able to convert into a purchase at every step of the sales process where they stopped. So you're missing out on that in between every step. And so, now if you're using a good email platform like Klaviyo and you're using Shopify, it's very easy to get that stuff implemented. But I find that a lot of, B2B services and a lot of SaaS businesses that are doing great top of funnel marketing, they're doing a great job of getting a lot of people in to check out their offer, but they don't realize how much more follow-up they can do. So especially for businesses that are using webinars or any kind of free video training, any kind of free trial access to your software, anything like that, where part of the sales process is getting people to either use your software or consume something that you've put out, you might not realize that the email software now can track what they're doing and how much they are engaging with that. So for example, if you send them to a webinar, someone clicks to go to the webinar and they start to watch it a little bit, but they don't see the pitch at the end, you can have email automations set up that will either try to get them to go back to finish what they were watching, or will just send them the information they would have gotten in the pitch, since you know that they didn't actually see that yet. Versus someone who did stick around and saw the pitch at the end, they can get a different follow-up that works on the assumption that they've already seen the pitch, and now you have a different conversation because they're already familiar with it. And this can be, again, applied for any type of business at every step of your sales process. This could be set up for if you're trying to get someone to use a free trial of your software, and then you want them to obviously sign up at the end of that trial period, but they're not actually using the software yet. You can have automations in place to get them to go in and use the software, because they're not likely to actually sign up and want to pay full price if they didn't even use it for free and they haven't been able to see where the value is in your software. So again, we're talking about, these are just fundamental things that a lot of businesses aren't doing with their email marketing, that are really low-hanging fruit opportunities where you can get a lot more sales from your traffic that you already have right now. And then the last thing I want to talk about here, this is more of just a shift in strategy, where I noticed that a lot of business owners still have this idea that the way to do email marketing, but also digital marketing in general, they're still going with the same strategy that was put out, back in the before even 2010, right? So whenever people started talking about the concept of inbound marketing, this whole idea of using content to nurture a relationship with someone before you try to sell to them. This was supposed to be the answer to, instead of doing ads where you're just putting a sales message in their face and they don't want it, you're earning their attention and winning them over and then selling to them after you have their permission. That's the whole idea here, right? But it's been 10, 15 years, and things have changed a lot. So if you still rely on this formula where you try to get people to opt in and you take them through this long nurturing series before you ever try to sell to them, you're going to lose that customer to your competitors that are selling to them from the very beginning. But then the pushback on that is that people think, well, no one likes to be sold to, and if we do that, then we're not going to have their permission and blah blah blah. And here's the deal: it's the quality of content is so much better now that you just have to figure out how to do both. You have to create content that nurtures and sells at the same time, and sells at the same time. If you can't figure that out, then you're already in a lot of trouble, because that's what the best brands are doing today. Is they've crafted a marketing message where every piece of content they put out, the intention is to nurture the relationship with their leads and with their customers and make them like the brand and know the brand and trust the brand more, but also not being afraid to ask for the sale, and also just, doing things that are persuasive enough to where they're generating sales, even if they don't have a hard call to action to buy the product. They're doing it in a way where people feel compelled to buy the product right then. So if you are getting people to opt in and making them go through this this long series of multiple weeks, sending them a bunch of content and never actually trying to, quote unquote, deliver value and never actually sell the thing you're offering, you're going to lose them. And a lot of times they're just going to be kind of confused, at this point. It depends what you're doing. If your whole business is based around giving out free information and teaching them something, then yeah, that still makes sense. But for the most part, people are going to be confused because ideally the thing you're selling is the solution to the problem they have. So you trying to sell them on the thing is helping them and is providing value, assuming that you provide a product or service that people want and you're delivering on a good customer experience. So that's, to me, is one of the biggest problems that I see, is that businesses they have this mentality still that's like from a strategy, from over 10 years ago, that they've just never updated their thinking on this, where they think you have to have these hard lines between this is a nurturing email and this is a sales email, instead of realizing that every email should be trying to do both. Every email should try to deliver a good experience for people so that you are nurturing the relationship, but then also every email should be trying to persuade them in one way or another to want to do business with you, because that is the whole point. No one thinks when they sign up to your list that you're not going to sell to them. And if you try to pretend, it just comes off as disingenuous, and it actually just looks a lot more manipulative when you start out, acting like, oh, we're not going to sell anything, we're just delivering value, and all of a sudden you have a hard sale that follows up with that. It's a lot more genuine to just be upfront that, like, hey, we're happy to sell our thing because we know that if you are this person and you are, trying to do these things or whatever the case is, that you're going to love what we sell, right? So there's no reason to feel ashamed about it. So, okay, I didn't want to make this video too long, but I wanted to talk about these three things because, again, if you're not taking advantage of what the software can do in terms of personalization and then also the automations built out around your sales process, you're missing out on a ton of sales, and especially if you're not doing the personalization. That goes to point number 3 about, just shifting in the strategy of how you plan the content and how you deliver the content to people. You're not able to deliver as good of a customer experience as other businesses are if you're not taking advantage of the different personalization features available. And then the other thing is, you're really doing yourself a disservice for your business if you wait too long to try to sell people, and you try to do this whole game where you act like you're not trying to sell, and then all of a sudden you're selling too hard, as opposed to just making it a fun experience for them, from beginning to end, where you don't have to be ashamed of the fact that you're trying to sell your product or service, because you're doing it in a way that's enjoyable for them, regardless of whether or not they're in the market to buy today. So if this is something that your business is struggling with, and maybe you have an in-house team and you want to do your email marketing yourself, I also work as a consultant. So even if you're not maybe you're just not interested in hiring a team to manage your emails for you, if you want a strategist to come in and help you, come up with this new strategy to update everything you're doing with your email, then I'd be happy to help you with that. Otherwise, if you aren't in a position to hire anyone, then please just continue to watch these videos and implement, because I'm giving a lot of step-by-step tutorials on how to do these personalizations, and how to optimize your sales process with email. So I'm doing that because I want the market to have better email marketing, because it's better for all of us, that we all get a better customer experience. And again, it's just going to help you grow your business, and it's going to be a lot more cost effective than trying to accomplish these same things with other marketing channels. So that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.